Welcome in, everybody, to another deep dive.
Yeah, deep dive time.
We love these,
It's always an adventure.
Absolutely. So as always, these are driven by you, the listeners. Send in your sources. We pick the best ones and just dive right in.
Dive right in.
And today we have something, well, a little different.
Yeah, it's not our typical source material.
It's a children's book.
A children's book.
Yeah, Rat Cat.
Rat Cat by Dropti Sharma.
Illustrated by Raji Verma Banjara. Translated by Ashwini Joshi.
Quite the team there.
Yeah, originally published by Pratham Education Foundation.
And you can find this on Storyweaver and Free Kids Books.
So, at first glance, you see this title, Rat Cat, you think, okay, pretty straightforward, right?
Cat chases rat. Rat goes in hole. The end.
Yeah. But we thought, there's got to be more to it than that.
There's always more than meets the eye.
Always.
Yeah.
So that's our mission today. What can we learn even from a story this simple?
And trust me, there's a surprising amount to unpack here.
More than you'd think.
And it ties into some big ideas. Storytelling, learning, even open access to information.
So let's start with, the story itself.
Yeah.
Super simple.
Yeah.
Right. Cat sees rat. Cat chases rat. Rat escapes into a hole. Cat is left standing there hungry.
Yeah, classic tale.
But, even in that simplicity, there's something engaging. That tension. Will the rat make it? You're kind of rooting for the little guy,
Absolutely. And I think that speaks to something really fundamental in storytelling, that chase dynamic, that pursuit.
Yeah, it's like built into us.
It is. It's this primal thing, wanting something, trying to get it, or wanting to avoid something and having to escape. And even without, complex characters, a big, detailed world, you immediately get what's at stake.
Right, high stakes.
The cat wants to eat.
The rat wants to live.
Exactly.
That's tension right there.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how old you are, you understand that. You're drawn into that.
And, to be clear, this is a level 1 reader book. It's for kids who are just learning to read.
Yeah, we're talking less than 50 words total.
That's
super simple language.
So it's not just simple for the sake of being simple, right?
No, it's intentional. It's about making it accessible, engaging for those very first steps in reading.
Yeah, gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere. And it's amazing how much you can do with so little.
It is. And it's not just the words. We've got the illustrations, too, by Rajiv Verma Banjara.
And it's interesting they even include attributions for each image.
Yeah, like on the cover, it says cat and scary mouse.
Cat and scary mouse, yeah.
And then inside, a mouse and a cat. Then it progresses. Cat looking to mouse, mouse looking from the hole, and finally, cat looking to hole.
So even without seeing the actual illustrations, you can get a sense of how the visuals are adding to the story.
Yeah, and for young readers, that's huge, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Kids who are just starting to read, they don't fully grasp the written word yet. So those pictures, they're essential clues.
They tell the story in a different way.
Exactly. They reinforce what little text there is. Plus, they can pick up on those emotions that might not be explicitly stated.
Yeah, like the cat's focus, the rat's fear.
That desperation to escape, the cat's eventual disappointment.
Like a silent movie playing alongside the words.
It is. It's storytelling on 2 levels at once.
Yeah, and it just makes you realize how important those visuals are.
Yeah.
Especially when you're just starting out as a reader.
Couldn't agree more.
And it really highlights how even a book this short is still a collaboration.
Right. It's not just the author working in isolation.
Yeah, you've got Dropti Sharma, the author, Rajiv Verma Banjara on illustrations, Ashwini Joshi translating.
It takes a village, they say.
Even for a tiny tale, it does.
It really does.
And speaking of reaching a wider audience, this book is shared under a Creative Commons by Y 4.0 license.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah, so can you break that down for us? What does that actually mean for how someone can use RatCat?
So CC BY 4.0, that stands for Creative Commons Attribution, and it's basically a game changer in terms of how we share knowledge.
Okay, how so?
Well, it allows anyone to copy, share, adapt, even use the work commercially.
Commercially?
Yeah, think like turning it into a puppet show and charging admission.
Wow, okay.
All without needing specific permission from the original creators. The one condition is that they have to give credit.
So like based on RatCat by...
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. So it's really about making this story as widely available as possible.
Exactly. It's fostering a culture of sharing, letting educational resources reach as many people as possible.
Which makes sense, given how RatCat is shared. It's on Storyweaver, run by Pratham Education Foundation.
And on Free Kids Books.
Yeah. So what's the big picture with these organizations?
Well, they're both really at the forefront of this movement called Open Educational Resources.
Open Educational Resources.
Yeah, OER.
Okay.
Basically, it's about making teaching and learning materials freely available. And Pratham, with Storyweaver, they're focused specifically on children's stories in multiple languages, all under open licenses.
That's a huge undertaking.
It is, but think about the impact. It's breaking down barriers to literacy, making books accessible to kids everywhere.
Regardless of income, location, all of that.
Yeah, and Storyweaver acts as this hub connecting the creators, authors, illustrators, translators with readers all over the world.
And then free kids books, they're kind of amplifying that reach,
Well,
right?
and make those openly licensed books like Rat Cat even easier to find.
They actually highlight their partnerships with organizations like Pratham on their site.
It's a great example of how collaboration can really democratize access to education.
Now, I did notice something interesting. In the credits, it says, some rights reserved, but it's also under that CC BY 4.0 license. Seems a little contradictory.
Yeah, that wording can be confusing.
So what does that actually mean?
Well, that's some rights reserved. It's standard language with Creative Commons. And the CC BY 4.0 license, it's very permissive, right?
Right.
But those original creators, they still hold certain rights.
Like the right to be credited.
Exactly. It's not about restricting how the story is used.
More about acknowledging the source.
Yeah, it's about respecting the original work, even while allowing for all this freedom to use and adapt it.
Makes sense.
It's finding that balance.
So let's talk about that, that driving force behind this open access movement. Pratham Books and Storyweaver, they've got this very ambitious goal to revolutionize multilingual children's stories
Yeah.
and ultimately get a book in every child's hand.
It's a powerful mission.
It is. And it says a lot about how they view the importance of reading.
Right. They see it as essential for a child's development. And they recognize that traditional publishing, it can sometimes create obstacles, cost, language barriers, limited distribution.
And open licensing sidesteps, all that.
It does. It makes these resources free, adaptable, removes those roadblocks.
And for our listeners, people who are interested in knowledge and learning efficiently, understanding this open access philosophy, it gives you a whole new perspective.
Yeah, you see how information is being shared differently in our digital world.
It's not just about this one little story.
It's a whole mindset shift.
Thinking about knowledge as a common good.
And that's reflected in Rat Cat itself, right? Being a level 1 reader, the simple language, the fact that it's been translated. We even see the original title in the credits that's landed up in the credits. Yeah.
Right, making it accessible to even more kids.
Yeah, it all ties together.
It's all about getting these stories to the children who can benefit most from them.
And if anyone's interested in exploring this further, the source actually provides some helpful links.
Oh yeah, let's share those.
So you can check out the Storyweaver platform directly at www.persem.org. You can find tons of free kids books at https://www.freekidsbooks.org. And there's an about page for free kids books at https://www.freekidsbooks.org about if you want to learn more about them.
And if you're curious about the legal side of things, you can see the terms and conditions for Storyweavers at https://www.storyweaver.org, that in terms and conditions. And to really get into the nitty-gritty of that Creative Commons BY 4.0 license, you can head over to http://creativecommons.org licenses by 4.0. We highly recommend checking those out when you have a chance. It's amazing to see just how much openly licensed children's literature is out there.
It's really inspiring.
It is. So, wrapping up this deep dive, it's kind of amazing to think that even from a story as seemingly simple as Rat Cat, we've learned so much.
Yeah, who knew there was this much to say about a cat and a rat?
Right. We talked about the power of narrative, even in its most basic form.
The collaboration involved in creating these books.
And this whole movement toward open access, sharing knowledge freely.
And for you, the listener, whether you're a teacher, a parent, or just someone who's fascinated by how knowledge is shared, this is a world worth exploring. Absolutely. Understanding these licenses, these platforms, it gives you the tools to participate.
Yeah, and it makes you think, what if this open model was applied more broadly?
Yeah.
Beyond children's books.
What would the world look like?
It's something to consider. So thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back with more soon.
More to come.
Always more to explore.
Keep sending in those sources.
And until next time, happy reading.
Happy reading.
All right, we'll see you then.
See you later.